Yeah, I
took 2 days off in February.
And I did take a 2-week vacation earlier this year. I'm not complaining about me.
Right.
I just the part where you have to kind of figure out who's doing what, when, where, and we've got a lot of little other things going on that aren't necessarily on the radio over the next few weeks. There's lots of little there's appearances at rallies and fan fest and all these things, and that's we're still doing 12 hours of radio every day.
Sure.
In addition to that, so that's the part that I'm most concerned about, making sure someone's sitting in this seat to do those things, and we're getting it done. And you know what we're doing? We're getting it done. And I love Fridays, and I love going out and doing things on Fridays. Going out to Westlake Ace Hardware. I've been doing that a few times. I was at Unlimited RV a couple weeks ago. You know what I got to do today? Nothing. I'm not going anywhere.
Clean slate.
Clean slate.
You got the men's national team tonight. That's what
I got that. I got to be awake at 8 o'clock.
That's right.
So I'm not.
I need a nap, buddy.
Oh, I think I am going to need a nap because that didn't start till late. We have Royals tonight too. We do not have NBA tonight, so the NBA is tomorrow night.
Right.
So
I'm happy about that.
I'm very happy about that. Give me something on Saturday night. I'm fine.
Yeah.
So I'm super happy. I'm not going to quite 10:01 to the door. I do have some things to do, but I won't see Soren today. I'll tell you that much. I won't say hello to him. He will not be here to do his show by the time I'm leaving.
You won't be the first here and the last to leave.
Not today.
That's right.
First one here. Might be the first one to leave. Maybe not. See if you get out of here before me.
I'll try to
I don't
be
know.
here.
You might. You got busy Fridays.
I do.
Always busy Fridays.
I do.
Busy Fridays. We had a busy yesterday. Royals lost. Typically one of those games that they just haven't won. You heard the stat. That was a Rangers broadcast in the Open that Jake played. They have not lost a game where they were trailing after 6, 7, or 8 innings.
Yeah.
Now maybe they've lost a game. Well, they wouldn't be trailing after 9. I mean, they're bullpen.
They might have had somebody walk them off.
Yeah.
But I mean
that's an incredible
that was
stat.
a Royal stat.
Well, and it's still the Royals are so far down offensively. They might be where the Rangers are, because how about this? The Rangers are a 500 ball club.
Yeah.
So if the Rangers bullpen had performed like the Royals, they'd be like probably 12 games under.
Yeah.
It's a thin margin in Major League Baseball.
Especially in the American League.
The Royals' last couple of games have been, they had a little stretch there where they were winning the games that they had been losing. Those they had that nice stretch on the road there, but then they came right back home. They got one against the Rangers, but then they, kind of back and forth game the other night. Very unfortunate that Seth Lugo got hit in the head with that ball. Reports are he's doing okay. Don't know if he's going to make his next start. That was 106 miles an hour right square off the noggin.
Ooh, that was scary.
Very scary. We don't know what he's going to be like afterwards. But
that ball ricocheted into the outfield. I mean, that.
Oh, yeah, I was almost caught.
Right.
By the second baseman. But that put the bullpen in peril. So they fought their butt off the best they could the other night. And then Michael Wacha pitched
17 outs.
Wacha pitched fine. He ate the innings up yesterday. But once again, they just don't get hits when they need to. I mean, Tyler Tolbert hit into another double play yesterday. The guy's the fastest player on the team, and he's hit in double plays the last 2 games. Seems impossible. It seems like that shouldn't be happening. So they haven't been able to put it together again. They were getting some timely hits last week. This week, so far, not getting timely hits. We will talk some Royals a little bit later today with Mike McFarland, former Royals catcher. He will be on at 8 o'clock, as he is every Friday. Stan Weber will be in here in a little bit. We could talk some Royals with Stan. We could talk some Chiefs with Stan. We could talk some Texas Tech football with Stan, which I know he's got thoughts on.
I'm sure
Had some thoughts last week. We'll have some more thoughts this week because things are continuing to go.
Lots of Chiefs news talk.
And we've got the Chiefs stuff. Pete Sweeney will be on the show. Tim Grunhard will be on the show. We heard yesterday at the end of New Day with SSJ some Andy Reid. We've got Xavier Worthy sound to play as well. We'll play some more Andy Reid here and there throughout the broadcast today, as the Chiefs they've gotten their walking orders. Don't get in any trouble. Get to St. Joe at your assigned post in one piece.
Don't violate your probation.
We will see if they can do that. Very rarely does, well, I don't know about most NFL teams. Generally speaking, someone gets in a little trouble somewhere. Right now, Rashee Rice is not getting in trouble. It was interesting yesterday that, Andy Reid, he didn't say he'd been talking to Rashee Rice. He's very careful how he answers the questions or whatever. But he's getting some treatment for his, he's getting to do rehab. He's getting to do some things. I think they've got that thing worked out the best you can in county in Dallas. But I asked Xavier Worthy about it, and he said he's talked to him every day. Now, I don't know if that's talk or text talk or whatever. I mean, they get phone privileges in county. Probably going to wait in line, all that. I am curious. I don't know if we'll get real answers when Rashee Rice gets back. I would love to know actually what his day is like there. Listen, I know maybe some of you have been locked up in county and can tell me what it's like to spend 30 days in county. I have not. Jake, I don't think has. Not 30 days.
Not locked up for 30 days.
No. I don't know what his privileges are there.
Country club weekend.
Had a weekend
in Gardner, maybe.
They give you a phone privilege, or were you just down? Don't know.
He's down, buddy.
So, if Rashee Rice and Xavier Worthy are communicating every day, I don't know how it works down in Dallas. You get that collect call from Ricky. You get that, the old school Ricky Clemens one from 23 years ago, whenever that was, or do you have do you have a cell phone? I don't know.
Hello, this is a collect call from
Rick.
You seen Head of State?
It's good.
It's good. God, we've been doing this for too long.
No, just no.
Too long. But, so the Chiefs got their run test done yesterday. Mahomes has his new deal. Travis Kelce's getting married.
You seen Head of State? No, it's good.
Got to watch it. Funny stuff. Chris Rock, man. Funny. So there's plenty of Chiefs things going down we'll talk about. I have been impressed with many things I saw out there from the new coaches. They needed a little breath of fresh air. And so we will talk to Stan about some Chiefs. We will talk to Tim Grunhard about some Chiefs as well, as it's time to not have Chiefs availability anymore, but there will be Chiefs news and there will be Chiefs discussions because the NFL rules the roost on attention. There's no question about that. Even while we've got Stanley Cup finals going on, Carolina ended up still winning that, right? They had a big lead last night.
Yeah, they won.
So they're kind of taking control of the series.
Yeah, they're going back to Carolina for Game 6, and they're up 3-2. So they're one game away from winning the Cup. But the
Knicks,
the Golden Knights coach promised to be back in Vegas for Game 6.
Sounds like they're going to guarantee a win.
It, yeah.
Let's go.
I think he said he's leaving his clothes in the hotel or something like that.
Well, might have lost those clothes. Carolina looks hot right now, but it's been a good series, entertaining series. Last two games not quite as good as the others.
And that's that story with the I don't know if you've been paying attention. The Carolina goaltender started last game, and that's the first game he ever started in his career in the NHL.
Wow.
And I believe his name is Bussy, and so he has 2 starts, both in the Stanley Cup Finals, and both wins.
You're a hero.
So he's that's quite a story. Your NHL debut is in the Stanley Cup, and then you start 2 games and you're 2-0, and they're both Stanley Cup Finals. So that's
it's not bad.
No, it's pretty.
Now
good.
you want to finish the job, otherwise it's a footnote. That's the deal. You always have to finish the job on these because you can't just think something's over, like the Spurs maybe did the other night. You got to finish, and the West had been a stronger conference most of the year there, and now Carolina has been great, and it's your traditional Carolina Las Vegas matchup that everyone wants to see. But that'll be Sunday night. That will get it done. We'll see if they do it. All right, so we are underway here on New Day without SSJ for the last time for a while at least. I don't know. Steven's probably got some vacations on tap. I don't know. He's told me some of them. But he'll be back here, assuming he gets out of Branson alive.
He'll be back Monday.
We've got to get him out of the Elvis impersonator shows or whatever he's going VIP tickets with to get that done.
Hey, man.
A lot of things on the table to talk about. We'll do it next here with Stan Weber. He joins us on New Day with SSJ. We're underway on a beautiful Friday here in Kansas City. Welcome back into New Day without SSJ. Todd Leabo in studio. Stan Weber came prepared with long sleeve shirts on. I can turn this air conditioner off, though. Steven won't turn it off.
Good morning, Todd.
How are you doing,
and Jake
buddy?
in Kansas City. But no, this is very warm compared to how Steven
I know.
keeps the freezer
Yeah. He likes to keep it cold in here.
really cold.
Yeah, he does. He does. How are you doing, buddy?
I'm doing very well.
Yeah.
It's great to see these long days as you hit the longest sunlight period of the year right now for the next few weeks. And coming here with the sun up and getting here early, I even know there's a lot of times I'm driving, it is pitch black and dark. So I don't take it for granted.
Jake and I don't know how we
stand
feel
it.
about the sun being up already.
No.
I like the sun come up about 6:30.
It kind of throws your body clock off, I bet, Jake.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
I mean,
Because you need to ease your way in. It's like, let's go.
Nah, I like it dark until about 7.
So I do play poker on Thursday nights, okay? And
And you won.
I lost $19.
Oh, okay.
So, Rusty, it's whose house we play at, and so he's just moved, and he lives in this. It's like a townhomey duplex thing. It's really nice up in Lakewood, right? It's got the lake right behind him, and so he's only lived there for less than a year. So we don't know the sun yet, right? We're learning the sun patterns, and so we play in the basement, and it's a walkout basement that looks over the lake, and the sun sets to the west. So there's a seat at the end of the table that you get the sun in your eyes at a certain time of day, right? Now, he got some roll down shade that you could put on the edge of the deck to roll that thing down to kind of block this thing, and it's been fine. But we have not reached the end of the sun yet.
It's
That's
moving.
coming in about 10 days.
Yep.
Before it starts going back the other way.
June 21st.
And so you know what we found out
Solstice.
yesterday? And blind not far enough over. You need
Seat number 2 gets
you
it
need
too. Or?
one more blind.
It is illegal at Bushwood, sir, and I never slice.
But we found out
Todd
that he
gave
put,
him
he put the roll
$1,000
No,
to put some new stuff up.
We said, listen, next Thursday it could be cloudy, and then we'll be okay. And then the next week it could be working back the other way. Anyway, it is funny though because the sun does what the sun does. So we found out yesterday it's going past that rolled down shade he had. So he could put another rolled down shade. I'm not saying he has to. It's only for a couple weeks a year. Generally, I mean, you're going there in November and playing. It's just dark. It's like come doing this show. You know, it's just going to be dark, and it's not that big a deal. But it is. We had. Did you enjoy the 2-hour weather delay that it never rained at the K yesterday? That was weird.
Those things just make you scratch your head,
Wild.
especially if you paid money and you're there.
Well,
If you're in a suite, it's okay. But if you're just a regular attendee to the game, you're like,
What are we
let's
doing?
play baseball.
What are we doing here? We Petro was texting I think his buddy at All Weather Decks about something yesterday, and I think he was in the Crown Club. Pretty good day to get the Crown Club.
Yes, very good day.
Right? You get the extra couple hours. At Crown Club on these pitch clock things isn't quite what it once was, but you get 2-hour free rain delay.
Some free cocktails, some free food.
Eat it up. But yeah, it was. We had the Fan Fest was the first real day of Fan Fest down at Liberty Memorial, and they had a really nice crowd down there.
Yeah.
But there was some actual weather went right through there right before 2:00 when the Mexico game started. So it was there's a lot of structures, and some winds, and it's up high on the hill there. So they had a little second of rain,
And
but
some metal
Yeah.
pointing up.
all that stuff.
Well,
and then
they had delayed the open, like they didn't let people until 1:30.
right to make sure everything was okay.
Right.
But so something was going on around that time, but it did not ever rain at the K.
I think everything was above I-70 north of it.
Yeah. Weird day yesterday, but I think today we got a really nice one.
Beautiful high of 84. Jeff Penner will tell us more about it at 7:50.
Yeah, I
Feels
feel
like
bad
it-
you're kind of
gonna be a
stealing all the
little
weather
sticky.
here, Todd.
Gonna be a
You're
little
predicting
sticky.
next Thursday.
No, I'm just.
Yeah, I know
hoping
you're not on this show
Well,
every
here's the-
week, but you
next
shouldn't
Thursday-
be blowing Jeff Penner's time.
I'm getting there a little bit earlier
Spoiler
next
alert,
Thursday
right?
because I ended up in one of the sunny seats last night. Okay, so I'm getting there a little earlier next week.
I know how Todd Leabo works. You're going to figure this out,
Yeah.
and that sun issue is not going to be a problem in your seat.
No, I was stuck in it. I didn't have it in my eyes. I had it on my side. I didn't like it. Didn't play very well, probably because of the sun.
I bet so.
All right, Stan, I know you have talked about this because it's been an ongoing issue for a while with this Texas Tech situation. I'm going to play a soundbite first here. Joey McGuire, who is the head coach of Texas Tech, has lots of things. This is
Talking about throwing tortillas?
no, this isn't that.
Oh, okay.
But this is about no
Kirby
one's
Hocutt, the
games.
athletic director, who I know well and is a K-State grad,
K-State player.
probably would rather talk about that right now.
He probably would rather much more talk about that.
That was all about KU, remember?
Yeah.
When the
Batteries or
final
whatever.
big discussion
Yeah.
had to happen, it just happened to be KU in town.
So Joey McGuire was at an event where he's at like a podium, and someone asked a question about this whole Sorsby situation, because on Monday, a judge in Texas, in Lubbock, Texas, granted an injunction. The NCAA had said Brendan Sorsby's not going to be able to play because he had gambled on
His team,
his team,
which
when
was
he
Indiana at the time. He was a red
This is
shirt
his third school
before
he's been at.
He was not using his eligibility.
Right.
He was a red shirt. He was on the team. He bet multiple times on games in Indiana for Indiana.
They found this out this winter after he had transferred from Cincinnati to Texas Tech.
Which there was some controversy there as well.
Of course, because
Cincinnati and the NIL is the first school to say, you owe us money back.
Yes.
So they're going after him in that fashion. So a little controversy around him. Then this pops up. And remember when the NCAA made the ruling that you just said? It's right there in the rules that you are ineligible. If you bet
the
on
same way
your team.
Every player in Major League Baseball knows you cannot bet on Major League Baseball.
Your sport
Banned
is
for
enough.
life.
Boom.
We have seen National Football League players get kicked out for a year recently. I mean, I'm not talking like Alex Karras back in the day. You know, this is like
Calvin Ridley.
I was going to say the Alabama guy at Florida or at Atlanta was injured, and I don't think he was even betting on Falcons games, but he was betting at the team facility on NFL games.
NFL games, yep.
And
then Jacksonville traded for him, and he had to sit out a whole year.
He had to sit out a whole year. The Chiefs, until this last November, have never had to worry about anyone gambling at the team facility because you could not gamble in Missouri. Now you can. So they watch all these things. And all of these sports books are, in cahoots with the league. So they want to know. We've had Cleveland Guardians pitchers get kicked out for throwing a ball on purpose because you could bet on the first pitch of an inning. I mean, some of these things they shouldn't be able to be bet on, in my opinion.
Those prop bets.
But, and Brendan Sorsby apparently had bet thousands of dollars on thousands of bets over several years.
$90,000.
So he had bet a lot. So he checked into a gambling addiction facility and has apparently passed that. And so he's in full stead with the team. And now he's gotten this injunction. So McGuire was asked about this. I'm going to play a couple of sound bites here. We can discuss this a little bit. Here's Joey McGuire, who has got an interesting path of his own to get where he is. He was a high school coach who did a very nice job in the Metroplex and then got hired as Matt Rule needed someone who knew Texas high school football when he came from Temple to Baylor. He hired him, and then he stayed on that staff, and then he eventually got to have this job. He's a great story of a guy who went from high school football to whatever, okay? But he is
a very likable guy. If he were sitting here, he's very enjoyable.
And when he's
not stuffy.
When he got into college football coaching, it's not that long ago, but it seems like 400 years ago because there was no $4 billion guy buying football players at the rate that they buy them now. Okay, it's just different.
There were no Cody Campbells, who is a big booster,
and he is the head of the Matador
Texas
Club.
Tech.
So there's all this stuff.
Is he the head of the board of region, Texas Tech board?
So there's some. He's got
like
a big
the head
job.
guy there.
He's got a big
and he's
job
working with
the government,
Nick Saban, and the government talking about making change. You talk about the dichotomy. It's from one end of the spectrum to the other. He covers it.
So here is Joey McGuire talking to this crowd. This was in Houston, I believe.
There's a lot of things to work through that we're trying to work through right now. I will tell you, and I know at some point, and it might have come out, and you can read it, the amount of stuff that he is, the mentors that he has, the help that he's getting, the recovery that he still has to do, the amount of technology that is on anything that he has for us to know everything that's going on. He has a person that's over every single penny that he has. I mean, the steps in place for him to even get to the points of where we can get him playing, there's a lot of stuff to go through. He is back in the building. He was at football school today. I got 2 kids, one's 30, one's 27. I got in this business for kids. I know why I was put on this earth, and that was to help people. And I just, whenever I go through the situations and think through everything, me turning my back on that young man in his darkest times. And if you don't think it's your darkest times, look at where he's rated, what he could be doing as far as quarterback wise. Is he going to get drafted and all that? And he comes back in his whole world. And he's the first person to tell you it's his fault. He chose to do this. But whenever you know anything about addiction, there's a point that you choose it, and then all of a sudden you don't choose it anymore. There's not something that you can do by yourself to get past where you're at. And so I wasn't going to turn my back on it. But we're still working through a lot of stuff. I mean, this is so early. This happened on Monday, and so we're still working through a lot of stuff, and so is he.
So that is Joey McGuire. He said, listen, some important things he said there. I do believe a lot of these coaches get into this for kids and all that kind of stuff. And I do believe they don't want to turn their back on players. But I also think they don't want to turn their back on the most important players and the best players more than many players.
If all that had been said, and you were lucky enough to hear that discussion about how idealistic he is, and he got into the game for kids, and he obviously was associated with high school a lot more than college. He hasn't been making the big money his whole life. I can run along with every word he said if the statement was, Brendan Sorsby, a guy who was a quarterback for Cincinnati and highly rated, transferred to Texas Tech and is no longer eligible. Because everything he talked about in his idealistic world was about helping this kid.
Mm-hmm.
That has nothing to do with eligibility. That has nothing to do with playing. They want to say, oh, he's got an addiction, and we're helping him with his addiction. He drinks too much, and he has 4 or 5 DUIs. But you know what? He's not going to drink anymore because we got him monitored. We're helping him. This is hard. I know it's his fault. He knows it's his fault, but we're not going to give up on the kid. And I go, I agree. Let's don't give up on him. Maybe he'll never drink again. Maybe he'll never bet again. Fine. But he doesn't have to play. Joey McGuire should be by his side. Texas Tech should be helping him in every way possible, or Cincinnati, to help this young man get back to being a very good citizen, doing everything right. Okay? Period. What does that have to do with eligibility? That's the missing piece here. He gets to play. Now, they may go to court. When you get an injunction, all that means is, let's don't assume a person's guilty until he gets his chance in court.
Yeah,
we're
going to
get in court
for months.
Exactly. So the practicality is, by getting an injunction, he gets to play, and then when they say, oh, he shouldn't have been able to play, they may come back to Texas Tech and go, you know what, we might have to forfeit those games, or he's not allowed to play anymore when it's already over. So this is about the eligibility. Everything Joey McGuire said, other than associated with eligibility, I have no problem with. Why should we give up on the kid? Why shouldn't we help him? Now, you're right. He's a quarterback who's getting a lot of NIL money. Man, that's a dark day, isn't it? Poor guy. I mean, how many millions of dollars has he made in the last 18 months? And is Texas Tech going to continue to pay him, or have they already paid him a big bonus? I don't know. He did these things wrong, and he doesn't deserve to play. So if he doesn't play and Texas Tech sticks by his side, and Patrick Mahomes mentors him as a guy who's very associated with Texas Tech, mentors him to another stage, and he maybe even gets a chance in the NFL, I'm all good with that. But just acting like this addiction is just such a unfortunate thing for the kid, and now we're getting him back. It's about the playing time.
Yeah.
They want him to play.
This is
otherwise
about football. Now, he also said, listen, here's
about
the deal.
winning.
He apparently has some guidance. It's not probation, but he's got some restrictions where they need to monitor everything he does to stay on the straight and narrow to be able to do this and all that
So he
stuff.
doesn't bet again.
Yeah. Okay, that's fine. But I just asked the internet to give me a list of Texas Tech football players who have been kicked off the team since 2020, and a list of 5 or 6 came up, okay? Some of them were bad. There's an armed robbery charge. There's domestic violence.
But he's
charges,
reformed.
things.
Whoa.
But
Those
and then-
guys are reformed
but some
right
of them,
now,
how about
Todd.
there's a defensive back who was dismissed by Joey McGuire for violation of team rules. Don't know what the team rules were. Well, he's just a defensive back who's like now at Memphis or ended up at Memphis or something like that. So you can't tell me that this is just you care about all the players the same. You don't care about all the players the same. You care about this. There was a big recruiting transfer portal deal for Brendan Sorsby. He was the number one player in the transfer portal. All right. So Texas Tech had a kid who was a 4-year senior, straight Lubbock kid, Baron Morton, who was a fine player for him, helped him get to the playoff last year. He's gone. They had a really good freshman who they like named Will Hammond, who's hurt. Well, they needed another player. You got to have insurance. You sign Justin Fields if you're the Chiefs when Patrick Mahomes is hurt. So they went.
Or if they thought Hammond were healthier,
And
they're a
they
little
don't-
worried
I don't
about his
believe-
timing
I
coming
don't
back.
believe they think he's
not,
healthy.
Yeah, he's not healing as fast as Patrick Mahomes appears to be.
And Cody Campbell, you mentioned, and Patrick Mahomes, by the way, who is a big part of their NIL. There's Patrick Mahomes has they're called the Mahomes Group or something. They have specific play. They're baseball player, softball player, golfer, men's basketball, women's basketball. They're specific players who get to be like. They're like the Mahomes scholars or something. You know what I mean?
It's like the Jordan brand
Yes.
is to Nike.
And so there are some kids who they specifically fund, and this Cody Campbell is a great American story. He played football at Texas Tech, used full use of his scholarship back in the day by going to school, and he got into the natural gas and oil business and made a ton of money, and he loves his school. I mean, he loves it, okay? So he's like, this is how you turn Indiana into a champion, Texas Tech into a college playoff team,
Big 12 champion for the first time
in
in
and
all
amongst
30 years.
all of these big time programs that have all the stuff, right? Texas Tech, even when they had Mike Leach and Patrick Mahomes, they could never get over the hump. They could just almost get there.
Yeah.
They couldn't make the Big 12 title game with a
Oklahoma
great
and
coach.
Texas would block the way.
They would always block the way. Well, now they're one of the guys now, right? The silly part is that Cody Campbell is now, as you mentioned, he's trying to work with the government to get some guardrails up. He runs ads. He ran ads during college football last year. We need guardrails. We need to do all this. But who do they need guardrails from? From him. It's part of the problem.
What is his statement on this? I have not heard that yet.
Well, I mean,
I heard the athletic department. We've heard head coach speak right here. Kirby Hocutt made statements yesterday.
you could get on
that I've
Twitter, you
read,
see
and
him,
they're all
he goes back and forth with people on Twitter.
They're basically their stance is this is an addiction. This young man needs help, and he's doing everything to do the right thing, and we're going to stand by his side. And we are not the law. So if the law says that he's eligible to play, who are we to say that we're bigger than the law? So I guess he's going to play for us. It's not that they're advocating for him. They're not yanking him off the roster. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
There's a difference.
He had a post 2 days ago, I guess. There's a difference between defending the person and the mistake. Texas Tech is in an impossible spot. Deep down, they may have hoped the final ruling would remove the decision from their hands, exhaust every option. Hey, listen, they went and tried to get the injunction. Don't act like this is all just happening. And then now the Attorney General for the state of Texas, because the Big 12, there's all these
This is important. Do
rumblings
we
in the
need to
Big
take
12.
a break before we break this one down?
Yeah, we do.
Because this is very interesting. The next step.
The next step of
The
where
one
it
that
goes.
people haven't heard about yet.
And so there's a statement from the commissioner of the Big 12 yesterday. We'll get into that next here on New Day with SSJ. Welcome back into New Day with SSJ. Stan Weber in studio. Jake Gutierrez is here. I'm Todd Leabo. Stephen St. John on vacation. We're talking about the Texas Tech situation. And so the Attorney General for the state of Texas, Ken Paxton, who is not a true Texan, he was born out of the state or whatever, but he went to Baylor and all this stuff. So he's not a Texas Tech guy. So the rumors all start getting around that, some schools have just said, hey, we're not playing Texas Tech in these sports, but not Big 12 schools. And then they start saying, well, the Big 12 schools are going to say, maybe we should not play Texas Tech. And then so the Attorney General for Texas sent a letter to Brett Yormark, the commissioner of the Big 12, saying, listen, if you guys say you're not going to play a team in your league, you could be exposed to substantial liability because there are TV contracts and all these things that bind these 16 teams in the Big 12 together.
Grant of rights.
Right. So in the letter, he says, we're aware the Big 12 is considering invoking a bylaw 3.6 to sanction Texas Tech for respecting the order and continuing support of Mr. Sorsby, a student athlete. This letter is to notify the Big 12 any such action would be unlawful and expose the conference to substantial liability. So then you'd have to pay Tech off or something. So
let's talk about how they got here first. He broke a rule. It's an NCAA rule.
NCAA rule.
NCAA rule says that if he bets
that get followed.
Right, but if he bets either, I don't know if it's on his sport or on his team, one of those two. But he did both, and it's obviously on his team is more powerful.
There's no
the
question
team that
about
he's
this.
playing on and knows all the information about. He bet multiple times for Indiana games when he was a redshirt freshman at Indiana. A freshman at Indiana was not playing. So he broke that rule, and it says you are ineligible for playing at any time in the NCAA if you do that. So they broke that rule, and the NCAA applied their bylaws. Brendan Sorsby said, well, the NCAA's been beaten in court all over the place. Why don't I give it a shot? This guy's making, hundreds of thousands, even reportedly millions of dollars recently at Cincinnati and maybe already at Texas Tech. So he has plenty of money. You don't have to decide where the money comes from. He has plenty of money to go out and say, I need my day in court. So he had his day in court. And he got a judge in the state of Texas to say, we're going to wait and say you're eligible until the court case actually happens, which basically means he's going to get a chance to play. But from the judge's perspective, let's just assume he did his job okay. All he did is say, no, you're not guilty until proven that way, so we're going to put an injunction in place. Funny, though, in that injunction, by the way, he negotiated that Sorsby has to sit out the first two games.
Right.
So he kind of took the NCAA rules in his own hands.
Said, I'm going to tell you what this is.
That's so weird, but okay. So that happened. Now the Big 12 sitting there, and the commissioner, Yormark, is getting all kinds of information from the presidents, the universities, athletic directors, and they're all scheduled to have meetings, both this week and next week, executive committee meetings, a very official thing set up, not to go after Texas Tech, Todd, just to talk about what's going on in the Big 12 as we get ready for a new year. Starting July 1 is when athletic departments start their new year, just like you have the NFL year. So they get ready to get going. So Yormark's got everybody giving him a call. He's got executive committee meetings set up, and he's hearing all this feedback about how unhappy everyone is about Sorsby possibly playing for Texas Tech. But the Big 12 has rules, and they say that they can commit to, if they vote together, they could have rules that say we can vote and invoke our own rule. And so they are sitting there with the right, under their bylaws and by the law of the United States, to act. Okay? So Brendan Sorsby was allowed to act against the NCAA, and the Big 12 is deciding if they want to, and then there's a preemptive strike by the Texas Attorney General saying, oh, I know in your bylaws, there are ways that you could say that you're going to have, that Sorsby's not eligible. I mean, basically, the Big 12 can say Sorsby's not eligible. Let's just think for a second if that happened. So that legally, the Big 12 says he is not eligible. That does not mean he can't transfer to another school and play, because the judge still said there's an injunction on the NCAA ban. So the Big 12 is thinking, do we have a set of rights that's a little bit different? A subset that might be played, a card that might be played. Todd played poker last night. But the Attorney General jumps in and says preemptively, oh, Big 12, be careful, don't do that. To me, that's stepping out of bounds. Because Sorsby got a chance to go to court. Why can't the Big 12 decide what they want to do? Why is the Texas Attorney General saying that Texas Tech's going to come after you if you say that Sorsby's ineligible? It'd be great if the Big 12 said, you know what? He's ineligible to play for a Big 12 school. They have the right to do that. Then Sorsby would have to go back to court and say, can the Big 12 actually say that? The Big 12 has a set of rules different than the NCAA's. Can they apply that rule?
Here's my overarching thought about what's happened in college athletics in the last 10 years, and it's accelerating. Okay, they have basically bent over and said you can do whatever you want to players.
The court system has, Todd.
And the NCAA, all of it. They all have.
But the court system was the lead trump card.
But they haven't really fought this thing. It started with, I think, something that made sense to me. They were using name, image, and likeness to sell video games.
The video game.
And, now they can have some money from that. But it's turned into pay-for-play, and it's turned into you're just going to give players money to do things. And it turned into cost of tuition, full cost of tuition to start with. And it turned into, sure, you can transfer a school without sitting out. Sure, you can get in the transfer portal whenever you want, and you can transfer to 3 or 4 or 5 schools. There's a basketball player, I think, going for his 8th year of eligibility. I mean, they've done whatever for any way. And they're
junior college years don't count against you.
Deathly scared of losing lawsuits, okay? So this is ancient history. I want you to think all the way back to 2023, 3 years ago. See if you can remember this story. Remember the Alabama baseball coach who had sent a text to a father of someone on his team saying that their Friday night pitcher was not going to pitch. Alabama's playing LSU. The father of this kid, whose kid plays for Alabama, went up and tried to make a really big bet on LSU in the state of Ohio where it was legal to gamble. Now, this dad was a dummy, was sitting there trying to make this huge bet, like $100,000 in a college baseball game, and was talking about it at the window. It was actually at a window at the Great American Ballpark in Cincinnati. Well, that Alabama baseball coach did not gamble on a game. He told someone that their pitcher wasn't going to start. So that's information. He got fired and got a 15-year show cause for giving some information to someone about a baseball game. This player actually gambled his own money on games of his team and is going to maybe miss 2 games. And he will have gotten to transfer to 3 different schools and get money every time he played. Meanwhile, the Alabama baseball coach cannot coach in the NCAA for 15 years. So the power has all shifted to the player. And I know there are people who are going to tell you that they were exploited for decades. Yes, okay, they were exploited for decades. But this is not the kind of exploitation that happens around the globe, okay? This is not, devastating exploitation. This is, if your exploitation is you can have a scholarship to go get a free education and you get to play baseball and increase your brand by being on television, all that stuff. You know what? Millions of players signed up to get exploited over the years because it was still a pretty good deal.
And most of them would not agree with your statement that they were exploited.
Most wouldn't.
Now, maybe they're totally naive because they said, wouldn't you rather have made $250,000 a year? Tim Grunhart's going to be here in a couple of hours, and I bet he doesn't feel like he got a raw deal from Notre Dame, getting a chance to play at Notre Dame and get an education for free.
He was getting $100 handshakes all the time. No, but
he didn't make his $250 as a starting offensive lineman.
It's all about when you were born, when things. But right now is the best time in the world. The last 5 years, the best time in the world to be a college athlete in any sport. You can make $1 million in softball. You can make money in swimming, diving, Division II baseball. You can make more money doing this than you probably will for many of these players for their first job when they get out of college. Because as they say in the commercial,
or the job they may have when they're 40 years old even.
Millions of people play student athletes and very few go pro. They do other things. And right now they're getting a chance to get themselves set up. Great. So that's great. This is the wild, wild west right now.
Take that.
But they have just they treat coaches and players way differently now. And I know. Listen, I I don't want to hear Nick Saban tell me about how bad it is now when he was making $12 million a year. I don't want to hear that crap either. Okay,
because he's one of the leaders who has
so we got to fix
the
this.
ear of the president of the United States.
And I'm telling you, I think
senators.
I think these coaches and ads all have guilt that they made all this money, and they kept putting bonuses on their own contracts for the kids doing well, and they felt bad about it. But they couldn't control themselves because they're all dumb. And no one's going to turn down the money. These athletic directors who kept signing these deals, thing got run by agents. I mean,
or they're smart. You said they're dumb. Maybe they're smart.
Well,
they're making a ton of money.
Nick Saban's smart. The athletic departments in the schools are dumb for paying someone $12 or $14
Just
million.
to finish this, if the Senate,
and they deserve the system they've created.
The Senate has a bill right now that they're trying to control college athletics, and a lot of what you're talking about is NIL and a lot of money. Even without that, if everything settles down and stops and has guardrails, there's at least $20.5 million that's going to be legally given to the players for nothing to do with NIL.
Well, you can't have a good roster with just $20 million.
That's all sports.
Well, profit. Ain't no profits running around most of these athletic departments.
Well, they call it profit sharing, Todd.
That's what they call it. Check the figures on these.
Oh, wait a second. That may make you a
departments.
taxable entity.
How about this?
You better not say that. But it is called profit sharing.
How about the
That's a
athletic
house
department
settlement.
loses money, man? The players don't get their money like it does in real jobs. I don't know. Stan Weber's here. More to come on New Day with SSJ.